Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Baby Got Scraps. Today I have a layout that has 4 little mini photos on it. They are 3x4s, and they are of my son at the beach flying a kite. And these are just more photos from the beach cleanup that the kids did. And so I just wanted to document the day, and that's where I'm going with this. So I'm pulling out some papers from a Dear Lizzie New Day 6x6 paper pad, and then I pulled a couple more papers from the Cocoa Vanilla Happiness 6x8 paper pad. I don't end up using the watercolor printed or watercolor looking pieces there, but I pulled them out because I thought I might use them. And as I kind of put this layout together, I will audition them and you'll see it's a little bit busy, so I don't end up going with them. I do know I want to use some of my some assemblage required embellishment box items. So I'm pulling out that long film strip and I'm going to use that. And here's where I decide I really like these colors, and I really like when you lay the pattern down there, it looks like it continues diagonally across there. But when I put the photos down, it's just a bit busy. I am going to use the wood grain, but as you can see here, it's a little bit busy. And even if I back it with white, I felt like it was still a little on the busy side. So then I decided to audition this fuchsia kind of colored paper from Dear Lizzie's New Day, and it's like the perfect color to match the kite that he's got. The kite is an airplane, and I just thought it worked really well, and I liked how it was a little bit more simple, so that's what I'm going with. But because I don't have enough of the wood grain, I don't have enough to go all the way 12 inches across between the two pieces. I am going to have to kind of add in a little bit of something to stretch it. So I pulled out this other piece of paper from the Happiness collection. It's just got like these turquoise kind of, they look watercolor, so they're like turquoise and teal and almost going into the more green side of things, but they work really well because they have the blues and the greens. And so I just used my favorite punch there. It's a large scalloped border punch from X-Cut. And I got it on Amazon. Actually, I got it from a friend of mine who used to have a shop, but they do carry it on Amazon. I got a replacement one on Amazon when I thought I lost mine. So I do have 2 because my lost one was found. I am inking up this border with some black soot distress ink. Not uncommon for me. It just gives it a little bit more oomph and makes it pop off the page just a little bit more. And I really like how that's looking. And I know that I'm going to have to bring this color in somewhere over on the right hand side of the paper, since I am using it as a border on the left hand side. And my thought is I'm going to back that film strip with this paper. And in fact, that is what I end up doing. So it works out really well. I really like the way that it all turns out. Now I do have a gap, as you can see there, between the top piece of, or between the wood grain and the fuchsia there, but I am going to fill that in with some leftover pieces of that wood grain. I have more of it. I just want to make sure I get the wood grain going the same direction so that it's very unnoticeable. So it's not noticeable that I am piecing it together, but it works out fine. And you really can't tell much because a lot of those seams are covered by the photos. So there's not a whole lot showing. And in fact, there's not going to be much showing up here at the top either once I get the photos down, but I also don't want to have a white gap there because that would look odd. So I just trim it down and then I just tuck it underneath the fuchsia colored paper there. And I'm really liking the way that that's looking. I'm going to go ahead and get my photos in order here and get them lined up where I think I want them. I'm going to tuck in the film strip. Actually, I don't end up tucking in the film strip. I end up leaving it on top of the photos, and I think it looks fine. You could tuck it in to make it a layer underneath, but at this point I didn't really feel like I wanted to tuck it under. I really liked the way it looked right on top, so that's what I'm going with. I was just measuring there to see how wide the inside of the photo strip is, because I don't want this paper to show through on those little tiny outer squares. I just want them to be in the middle. So I was just kind of measuring that out so I could cut the paper the right width and back the film strip. I'm going to use some of that Nuvo Deluxe adhesive just to adhere it. I do use a little bit of the ATG there at the top, but for the most part I just am using this because the ATG didn't end up sticking very well. So it is always really good to have more than one type of glue in your stash because of cases like this where my ATG just did not want to stick to it. It just kept rolling back up on itself, and so the liquid glue came in very handy. And then in a while I'm going to be also pulling out some Crystal Effects. I think that's what it's called. Oh my goodness. By Ranger. No, Glossy Accents. Sorry. Crystal Effects is a different company. There are several companies that make things that are very similar to Glossy Accents. I don't normally use Glossy Accents, and it's been in my stash for quite some time. It is a little bit yellowed, which makes me a little bit leery of using it. But for this photo, I decided I'm going to go ahead and use it and see what happens. But I also have been known to use Crystal Lacquer by Sakura, and that works well also. So I have the 3 clouds that were part of the January Some Assemblage Required release here, and I am just gluing those down to this paper. I do want a little bit of color behind those clouds, so that's why I'm using the corners. I want to pull in this pink color into one of them so that it will be layered up on top of the wood grain side of the paper, bringing the pink across, or the fuchsia across. And then the other 2 can be kind of like the grayish blue, and so that works fine. And here's where I'm just using the Glossy Accents to fill in the clouds. And as you can see there, it is going on a little bit yellowy, but that's okay because for me, it is also bringing in more of the wood grain tone that has kind of that yellow hues in the background, or in the undertones. So it works out. And then the single piece of the film strip I did back with the wood grain just to bring that wood grain across to the left-hand side of the page. And the wood grain worked really well because it's a very similar color to the sand in the photos. And so I was really liking the way that that came out. Now there is a girl sitting in the bottom left-hand corner of the 2 bottom photos. She is not really pertinent to my story. She was with our group, but I don't really need her in the photos. So one of my clouds is going to cover her up in that second photo from the bottom. And I'm totally okay with that. I did back all my photos with some white cardstock just to give a nice white, crisp, clean edge. I really like that look, and so I do that with most of my photos. Not all of them, but most of them. So that's not an unusual thing for me. I'm also lining up my photos with my T-square ruler to make sure they go vertically. Now, I really liked the way that Sunkissed looked with the green in that paper that has the dots on it. But when you pull it away and you add the blue looks much better because the sky is blue, and there is blue also in that watercolor dot paper. And so I decided to use the title that says Sand in My Toes. It just seemed to work better. It looked better with all of the blue in those photos that I've got going on. And so that is what I ended up going with. Even though the Sunkissed one worked well, this one just worked better. So I do have some ephemera from the Dear Lizzie New Day collection. So that butterfly is from that, and I'm going to pull that up to the upper right hand corner. It also has a little bit of that blue and turquoise color in the wings, and so I thought that worked well. And then I really like the cloud placement here because I've got the pink one bringing the pink across in the upper cluster there over on top of the wood grain, like I mentioned before. And then the other 2 are very neutral looking, even though they have some blue undertones to them, bluish gray undertones. I did pull out some of the tickets from the embellishment box from Some Assemblage Required's January release, and I am using those as well. The Dear Lizzie New Day ephemera came with some of these frames, and so I've pulled out 2 of the frames. I'm trying to figure out where I want them, and I am going to use them around my layout to finish off my embellishment clusters. I also opened up my pack of stickers. These I think are actually from Paige Evans, if I'm remembering correctly. But anyway, the colors are very similar and there's some stars in there. I thought I'd bring those in as well, just to use up some stickers and to bring in a little bit of extra fine detail work. They're not adding a lot to the layout, but because I've got clouds on there, I figured, I could put some stars on there too. It is not nighttime, but that's okay. I think stars go on most layouts. That pink frame had a little extra detailing in the corner. I just snipped it out so that it would work for me. And since I've only got 2 frames, I am cutting them in half to use them in multiple areas here. Bringing in the kind of turquoisey blue one up into the upper left to bring more of that color across to this side of the page. And then bringing in both in that center area at the bottom just to keep mimicking those areas. And I really like the way that that is looking. I am going to tuck in that gray ticket just into that same embellishment area, and then my cloud is going to go right over the top of it just to finish it off. I really like the way that that was looking, and it does cover up the extra girl in the photo, so that made me happy. So once I get my little frames layered up there, pretty happy with the way that that looks. It's brought all the colors over into these 2 embellishment areas, whereas the butterfly kind of does that job in the upper right hand corner. And then I am going to adhere my title and my little clouds here with some Zotz bling. You can also use some glue dots in the mini size. Sometimes when the acrylic is really thin, like the clouds, if I hadn't backed them with the paper and the glossy accents, then I would use my liquid glue, because there's no way to really get these glue dots to stay or to hold anything without showing. And so the liquid glue does work as well, but I just like to use the glue dots or Zotz because I feel like they are going to hold over time. And then I went to the sticker book that I had pulled out, and I think this is a Dear Lizzie one. I'm trying to see actually. Yeah, it is a Dear Lizzie one. And which makes sense because it matches everything else that is on this layout so far, which is mostly Dear Lizzie stuff. But it is all pretty old Dear Lizzie stuff. So I went to that sticker book, and I thought I might use this one sticker and in one of those framed stickers, and you're going to see me kind of like stick it down accidentally, but I will pull it right back off and it's fine. It doesn't cause any damage or anything. But I end up just using the stars, and I feel like the stars work well. They work on any layout. Yeah, it's not nighttime or anything like that, but stars have a lot of different connotations or meanings to them, and so I feel like they work well. I've got clouds that are up in the sky. My the kite is up in the sky, and so are stars. So that's my theory. I don't know. So I end up just using some of the aqua or turquoise colored stars there to bring in more of that teal color or turquoise color across the layout. It's not really teal. It's not really dark enough to be teal. It's more aqua or turquoise. But and then I also brought in some pink ones over by the title piece, and I think that works well. And then I am also going to bring in some enamel dots, a little cluster of 3 different sized enamel dots in blue, and that is mostly because I want to bring in blue to some of these areas, or to all 3 of these areas, because I've got that blue title going on and I don't have enough true blue color to match that, and I thought this would work well to bring those colors across. I'm going to finish it off by adding some little phrase stickers from one of the Tim Holtz. I don't know if this is a chit chat book or it's not the snarky one, but it might be chit chat or small talk. Anyway, I'm bringing in some little phrase stickers to finish off my layout. They all apply, like one says, find your wings and don't forget to fly. I thought those are all good. They apply to the kite. They also apply to my kid. So that works well. And then because the butterfly has some gold on its wings, I decided to bring in a little bit of gold Heidi Swapp Color Shine just to finish things off. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out everyone else playing along with Baby Got Scraps. The links are down below in case you are interested in checking that out. And if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it. And if you're not already subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will be back again tomorrow with another video. See you then. Bye-bye.